So in our first 10 years, one of my challenges was, I think I expected, I hardly got the approval that I needed, because you'd always see the 5% missing. Because she also wanted me to be perfect. Yeah, making things perfect. Things can be perfect, but people cannot be perfect. Sindio?
I remember one time, I'm sorry, honey.
Yeah,
one time right here. One of the brothers wanted to enter the front seat when we were going out. And my young son, he was only 2 years, and he said, he kiti ni ya mami, you know? So it's like now, I was feeling also I'm not regarded or considered as I should. I'm the wife. But it's like, he's not sure where to fix me. So I think that's how now I started, feeling like I think I haven't yet been given my space. I was saying like, there's some other forces that are not allowing us to be who we are.
Love is also a decision. The moment I decide to love the person, I'll start feeling love towards them. So there is the decision part of it, and then the emotions flow out of that. But it takes hard work to choose to love and to remain in love despite the weaknesses. So if we look for weaknesses, we'll find them. She has many, I have many. But when we start at the emotional level and expect to remain there, soon, and that's what happens after honeymoon, soon the feelings start going down. Yeah, the hormones start coming down. Why? Because you have real issues to address. And those issues bring tension. And then you start drawing apart. If she loved me just because I'm handsome, if that handsomeness goes, what happened?
My name is Margaret Kagia, married to James Kagia. Between the two of us, we have 5 grown-up people. Between 43, in the bracket of 43 and 34.
Yeah, 34.
34, yes. We have been married. He says 43, I say 44. So which is which? 44.
Yeah, she knows better. Good, I think I've been introduced. James Kagia, husband to Margaret, for the last 44 years. She's talked about our children. We've also been blessed with several grandchildren.
Oh, I forgot.
And she knows where I met her. So she can give it a go first.
Oh my.
Then I can add if there's anything to be added.
The moment he asked me, when can you take me to your home? I knew, wow. So
he is mine.
Yeah, so we agreed one Saturday after work, I would take him to my place. My parents were living somewhere in South Sea. And when we went to say hi to my dad, I told my dad, this is my friend. And my father straight away said, okay, bring your parents. Nothing else. Yeah, it's not the way you people think things. Yeah, because how does a girl dare tell the father that this is my friend? My goodness. Yeah, so he told him, you bring your parents.
I went and told my parents, I found a girl. Of course, they would ask the usual question, from where, who are they? Because now even the ladies who are not that demanding, it's just about we being able to, basic needs, this man can provide for me. And that's all that was needed. And therefore, even for her, that at her age, at that point, around 23 or thereabout, she was also ready. I think I'm getting too old. It's time to get married.
24.
So, 24.
Yes.
So it was kind of a norm. You're finished schooling. You're working. So what else? The next automatic thing is to think of marriage, if you find a marriage partner. And nowadays I hear it's different. People first, you either want to accumulate, or the ladies really are demanding more. I don't know. But that time, they just needed. She found me in a simple place. Yeah, and she was ready to go there.
If somebody you have loved somebody, or you have liked somebody, other things will come. Yeah, we didn't want so much those big cars. He didn't even have a car. Yes. a single room, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, a single room.
Initially a single room.
And that was good enough.
I came from a polygamous family. I am far down the line, number 11. My father had two wives, so it's number 11. So you can imagine there are several older people ahead of me. And I think we're at a point where things were changing, because during our father's days, of course, the man was the authority. Whatever he said, my mothers were docile, just taking instructions. Children were also there just to be seen and receiving instructions. And that's the environment we grew up in. My father was a perfectionist, so everyone really had to toe the line. There was no room for failure. Yeah? If you failed, of course, you are in trouble. If you missed to do what he expected you to do, you are in trouble. And that's the environment we saw growing up. Of course, then, seeing older people, men also, who were married, it was also close to what I had seen. Yeah? Of course, wives at home, the man, they are socializing, working, and then socializing. And that's the only model I had. Yeah? I only knew one person one couple that appeared close. Yeah? I would see them together. But of course, others would talk badly about him and say, this one, huyu amekaliwa sana. And so when I got married, all I knew was that I needed a wife to be in the house, to cook for me, to take care of me, to meet my needs. Yeah? Of course, you will get children. I saw marriage from my point. I needed someone at home who would meet my needs and take care of me. And that's what happened. Do you know the first Saturday after we got married? So these are the people. This is the same group we have been socializing with. They are older men, they are married. But they are the people we socialize with. And the first Saturday, I found myself in a club until very late with them. And I remember hearing, you don't have to go home very early.
Because there was no honeymoon. He didn't take me
Of course, there was no honeymoon in our days. Honeymoon ya kutoka wapi? I didn't even hear about that. Anything to do with honeymoon.
It was rare.
It was rare.
It was rare.
Unaoa bibi, unampeleka nyumbani, mnaendelea na maisha. Amekuwa bibi. So the first Saturday I went home late.
Saturday.
The first Saturday after the wedding.
My goodness.
I didn't have a car, so someone dropped me. Then my wife was very angry. And you can imagine she was very lonely, all alone. She complained, but I couldn't see. Why are you complaining? I left all the men there, and they're all married. So me, I've come home early. And of course, that kind of lifestyle continued. After work, I go home. But weekends, there you are with the buddies. Saturday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And it continued until she called the parents. We talked. Still, I couldn't see my sin. Because that looking at the social world, that's all I'm seeing. I have no idea about anything better or different. Yeah? I have a wife, I go home to a wife, she meets my needs.
They're telling you, if you go home early,
if you go home early, the day you'll be late, utasema. I remember hearing that conversation. So I was being trained.
By the older ones.
By the older ones. Who are you to defy the wisdom of the old ones? Look, so you've come from that scenario. How do you change? How do you change? So I'd come home late and she would complain, and I would say, no, why are you complaining?
We grew in a setup of Christians, so to speak. And most of now my uncles and aunties were all believers, starting with my grandparents. And I saw marriage working, especially from my grandparents. If I may say that. Yeah, because he knew them even before they left. And they left at good age because they were believers. They were among the very first Christians from where I came from. And it was almost unheard of a man, a male, telling the wife sorry. My grandfather used to say that many times to my grandmother. Many times. If my grandmother said, no, this is not right, my grandfather was always there to say I'm sorry. So for sure, I expected something like that. When I was getting married, I expected something like that. And although my father was in Nairobi, he was not at home like the other brothers. But I saw him also as a loving man, not now an authority, really, as he says. Because when he comes home at once, of course, I saw now the love, the kind of a love my father had. And so I felt really I was getting married so that I can stay with somebody who loves me. And this divorce thing was never anywhere. I had not even heard of it, actually. Yeah, because, I mean, I just saw a very loving couple, and everybody really wanted to see them, my grandparents now. So for me, when I was getting married, of course, I have met somebody whom I love, and truly I loved him, and even today, I think we still love each other. We cannot exchange anything. Personally, I know I can't exchange him for anything else, despite of those 10 years he has talked about. And so, for me, marriage was marriage, and it was here to stay. No turning back. So even as when he has talked about when I went to call my parents because of now that drinking and the way he was going out with his friends and coming home late, I didn't like that, but I was not imagining that we could part. I think I was feeling frustrated when now within those years, because it's like, although he kept saying he loved me, it's true, he did. But it's like, because he hadn't found his space because of peer pressure. I think he wanted also to show he is a man, the way now, if it's the people he was working with, some of his brothers, is it okay to say that? Some of your brothers? Yeah, because now the older brothers really, I mean, they had their kind of lives, as we called it, life is style or something like that. So because I think he wanted just to be with them and not to be told that he has been sat on, as we call it. Yeah, he has been sat on. So he really wanted to please. He didn't know exactly whom to please first, whether it's the people his friends and maybe his circle of friends and some of the relatives. He didn't know now whether it's them to come first or it's a wife. I remember one time, I'm sorry, honey. Yeah, one time right here. One of the brothers wanted to enter the front seat when we were going out. And my young son, he was only 2 years, and he said, "Hey, kitty ni ya mami," So it's like now, I was feeling also I'm not regarded or considered as I should. I'm the wife. But it's like, he's not sure where to fix me. So I think that's how now I started, feeling like I think perhaps this is not the right thing I did or what as much. Yeah, because I got into marriage for stay and not for coming out. But now I'm not sure whether I'm the wife or... Yes, I am the wife, but I haven't yet been given my space. And not that I wanted anybody to be out of... We had our parents, my mother-in-law, who was a very good friend of mine. Unfortunately, she left very early. And my father-in-law, and we were close, we were friends. But I was saying, like, there's some other forces that are not allowing us to be who we are. And I guess that's how I went into that depression. Perhaps either because of my temperament, as he says. Yeah, almost an introvert, not somebody really who wants to be all over. And so I expected us to be together. Perhaps that's how it ended up being a depression, even without knowing exactly what it was. Until when I went to the doctor, and they said it was depression.
And at that point, you see one major conflict here. I had no idea what her expectations were. She had no idea what my expectations were or what I was struggling with. And right there you see a big problem. We are in an institution, but you don't understand what each other wants. Yeah? What were her expectations in the marriage? Because of her background, having seen her grandparents and what have you, she expected a marriage where she is embraced, where we are there together, spending time together. for me, I had no idea what that was. I hadn't seen it. Yeah? And therefore it's like we had cross purposes. And at that point, of course, what else do you expect but chaos? Yeah? Exactly. Chaos, nothing else, and conflicts. But for me, I couldn't see my problem. Because from the background, from where I came from and what I had seen, I was within normal. But from her perspective, yeah, things were really going wrong. And that is one problem with marriage. We come with unstated expectations. They're unstated. For me, as I come in, for me, I wanted a wife to meet my needs, ready to provide for her and to take care of her. And I would tell her, I love you. But you see, she couldn't see the love. Yeah? I would buy her nice things. But that did not fill in the craving. She was longing for me to be there with her.
I know he just asked about the therapist. When I told the psychologist some of the things, like even for a younger brother sitting in front in the car and me, I'm sitting right in behind. I had not seen that, and he was really shocked. To him, it was okay, as he says.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it was okay.
Yeah. and that, of course, now could surprise me. Am I really the wife? I mean, I thought a wife, we should be sitting in front of him, So I know that that's one thing that really surprised him, and actually it turned him. Not that we were trying to turn against now, or I was trying to turn against him now, loving his people. But as he was the expectation of marriage. Of course, I expected now I'm married, and everybody should see, even the girls, maybe he knew before, should know that now I'm married to him. I can't be sitting sitting at the back seat, and he's sitting with somebody else in front. So perhaps those are the small things now that brought that kind of a depression you're talking about. But we thank God, as he says, and Christ came into our hearts, not to separate us from our families, but to make our hearts and to make him also understand what true love was. You can still love your people, and you love your wife. And I think he was able now to know how to even get out of, how to be himself. Because I think the problem actually with him was trying now to please everyone, and which can be quite tough if you don't know the boundaries. You want to please everybody, and there's no way you can please everybody the same way. It's not possible that, you can't give everybody 100%. It has to go halfway that way.
Until in the 5th or 6th year, we attended a seminar. We had first attended a seminar by a psychologist who had arrived in the city from US. I think it was the first psychologist I heard about. And a seminar on parenting in our 5th year or 6th year in marriage. So we went for the seminar. That time it was at the Hilton. Then later, as we were struggling, she said, let's go and see Dr. So-and-so, because things are not working well. That time, of course, she's already struggling with ulcers, depression. And I couldn't see what was the problem. And I loved her very much. I really loved her.
But
that is all I knew. I was giving her all I knew. And I would buy her things, I would make sure.
Nice things.
The only things I could not buy her were clothes. I tried once and I got disappointed because her taste, I have no taste. So we went shopping once and someplace, and I saw her look at a dress. And after we had gone, I went and picked it. And she said, no. This I did not. So that is the last dress I bought for her. And I think she went and changed it, yeah? So that's how it was. So we met with this doctor, psychologist. One thing, and I recommend therapy for couples, he helped us communicate. He helped me to see what she was talking about, yeah, which I had not seen. What is really is her problem? What is her pain? What is she complaining about? To see her loneliness, to see all those things. And of course, things started changing. But gradually, not very... and he was also writing. He was writing in the standard newspaper of those days. Psychology and You, Psychology, what have you. Started producing a magazine, Psychology Digest. And I started consuming these materials and started understanding who are we, human dynamics, relationship dynamics. And that started changing my life. Seeing another way of life, another paradigm, started experiencing a paradigm shift. There's another way of looking at relationships. He had lived in the US, so he was a psychologist, so he was looking at life from different, from the men, from the women. That started changing me slowly. And we went on until early 1990, towards mid-1990, still struggling with depression. She was seeing a psychiatrist. And this time she goes to see a pastor at All Saints Cathedral where we were going. Before that, we were going to Holy Family Basilica. And the pastor leads her to the Lord. She came and told me, I'm saved. Okay. And started seeing some changes. And then she stopped going for treatment for depression. And that caught my curiosity. What has this salvation to do with depression? What has changed? So that led me to a psychiatrist. Yeah? I paid consultation. I went to see the psychiatrist to ask him, what happens when people get saved? How did depression lift? And the doctor, of course, explained to me that he did not understand, but he knows. Yeah? Our belief, what we believe, is powerful, even in determining our healing and determining many things. And he told me, yes, you go to hospitals and find someone who is clinically not very bad, but they have given up. And they'll go. And you find someone who believes he's leaving the hospital because of ABCD. And they leave. I said, okay. Then I think I see why depression has lifted in Margaret's situation, because she was very excited about her newfound faith. And 6 months down the line, I'm invited to a fellowship, and I go. And I gave my life to the Lord. And from that time now, my life changed. Started reading the Bible, consuming it, seeing about marriage. What does the Word of God say? And I think I developed a new paradigm completely. I moved from the traditional model that I knew, and I look at the biblical aspect and the love the Bible talks about. And I think she has not regretted. She has not looked back. The conflict we had, of course, because we had our conflicts. Margaret and I are very different. She's a perfectionist, more of a melancholy. Things must be, melancholies can be moody, moody this time, yeah. Expect things to happen like this. So in our first 10 years, one of my challenges was, I think I expected, I hardly got the approval that I needed, because you'd always see the 5% missing, the gap. There's always something missing. Whatever you do, and you see at that point, I want something else. Affirmed, you have done this, and she doesn't see it. She's only seeing. That was very challenging for me, But when I came to learn about personalities and temperament, and I started reading books, yeah, I know a book that really changed my life, Spirit Control Temperament by Tim LaHaye. And I married you. I love you, but we are so different. I started understanding, we are different. We are all very different. So I became a student of life, wanting really to understand what really goes on. Why the fights, what was it about? And what has happened? And that's the journey we have come. Of course, we have also learned to handle our differences. Even no matter how much we are in love, you rarely see the same situation the same way. Whatever you're discussing, you see it differently. And no two normal people can see the same thing the same way exactly. And that's why we have so many conflicts. I want to do this. You see it differently. And we had our own many conflicts also. I want to do this, blah, blah, but it's not working. She doesn't give me the tick because she's afraid. And that's how we are, and that's how marriage is.
Yeah, I could keep quiet for 2 weeks without talking to him, and it's because I was feeling I'm really offended, and because I don't want to argue, I don't want us to fight, I just kept quiet. I don't know how he discovered. One time he just came with flowers. I love flowers. I don't know how he discovered that, and so anytime I went kneel by mouth, I just saw somebody coming with flowers. And the moment he gives them to me, surely we start talking. And now I could explain why I was not talking to you, why, I was keeping quiet. And but as time went on, as we matured also, I think those kneel by mouth moments have really ceased.
Yeah, there were many during our first 10 years. Until I don't remember how I learned to bribe her with flowers. A batch of flowers, and then she would start talking, because it's either that or if she's annoyed now, then I would go out, and take my beers and socialize and then come back.
I don't know, sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, I don't know whether that could have been a good reason, because even now, as much as we are over 40 years married, at times I'll feel disappointed, he would feel disappointed, but he doesn't walk. Not because he is old, even, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know whether the stepping in of Christ really made a lot of difference. Perhaps.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There will always be conflict. There will always be issues that you're seeing differently. And sometimes someone feels annoyed about something. But of course, what we have learned now is to address issues. And you have found sometimes in the house is not the best place. And we generally look for an opportunity just to step out. Let's go out and have some lunch, have some meat somewhere, just sit. And then you're able to talk. Honey, what is it that you're going through? Somehow we have learned, at home you have your own stresses, the routine. And it has sometimes been useful for us to step out of the routine, and you're able to discuss issues when you're free. Yeah? And you're able to brainstorm and to listen to the other person, and to also give your point of view without any stress. And that we have found ourselves able to really address a lot of our issues. Yeah? But to those things, those moments come, and you feel offended someone has said this or done this that you did not expect. Like we say, different expectations will always be there. Yeah? Different perspectives about a thing. The same thing will always be there. But if only people could learn. Yeah? One thing that has helped us from, again, early is we spend a lot of time together. Even when I was working, I was in Nairobi, she was in Kenyatta. I would call her over lunch. Yeah? Let's buy lunch and eat together. And people wondering, what's wrong with these people? See, they slept together. Why are they again coming to eat lunch together? Yeah? But we made it a habit. If we are away from each other, we'll talk once, twice during the day, just how are you? How are you getting on? And that has kind of helped us to address issues.
I do hear easily these days when, like the way he used to annoy me, when coming late at 11, he's drunk. I'm sorry.
Is that true?
2 times he vomited. I don't know the word you use these days. And of course I told him now. It was the first time. And the second time I told him now. This is the last time. I'll not wipe that vomit. But for these younger people of today, perhaps, when I told him I won't do that again, that's when now I ended up even calling the parents. But today I'm hearing, as you put it in your way, either the girl, she will walk out, or she also start doing the same thing. I think that's where you are almost coming. Yeah, she also start doing it, and she also come, and when she's drunk, and maybe she also do the same people so that they can be equal. She walks out and she goes and she looks for other friends. That's what happened. Yeah. So it's like, as you say, when we are entering into marriage right now, we are not sure. We don't know exactly why we are entering into this institution, as he's calling it.
Without a culture, culture holds people together because they are the do's, the don'ts. These are the norms. This is not acceptable. And you find culture causes people to hold together because she knows her limits. I know my limit. The do's and the don'ts are clearly stated and accepted. And Christianity, and of course even other religions, you can see it as a cultural system. In the sense that it has a set of values and beliefs. And these are the do's and the don'ts. This is what is acceptable. This is what marital love means. And that became very powerful for us. Yeah? Because without culture and without religious beliefs, it becomes very, very difficult. And you don't expect marriages to work. Because it's me, it's about me and my interest like I had, and about her and her interest. Each person comes with their own package. Yeah? And like you said, even as we get into adulthood, we have our own, we have developed a paradigm, a way of seeing things. Yeah? Like a pair of glasses through which you see the world. That was my paradigm from where I came from. Yeah? That was what was driving me and my expectations about marriage. A wife who is voiceless, anakaa hapo mimi nasema kila kitu. Right? And that's the paradigm. That was my paradigm. For her, it was different. Her expectations were, her perspective about marriage was shaped by what she had seen. So you have two people who are coming from different backgrounds. Yeah? Different families, different family backgrounds. And therefore, our expectations are shaped by, first of all, who we are as a person, my temperament, and where I have come from. Now, without a common glue, then we are in trouble from the day from the word go. Because for me, this is what I expect. For you, this is what we expect. Then we have been nurtured differently. We have been exposed differently. And this is what I bring into my marriage. What else can I bring? From where? And you see, you are looking at things from my selfish interests, just like I was doing. Your selfish interests. Then, of course, you don't expect us to bond. How do we bond? Therapy, I would recommend therapy. Yeah, it helps you to listen to the other person. And that's one thing that happened. I started seeing her pain. Before that, I was just thinking about myself. Yeah, I had no idea what she was going through emotionally. But through therapy, I was able to listen. Yeah, as the therapist drew out whatever issues we had, and she would explain her. I said, "Oh, I did not understand. I did not know that meant A, B, C, D." Yeah, and then of course I would also give my perspective, and you leave there feeling, at least now I've heard you. I understand you now. We can work on this because we have identified our differences and our problems. Yeah, like I said, during our father's days, the man called the shots. He was the absolute owner of resources. Yeah, that is gone. And therefore, the man is finding himself on very shaky ground. What do I hold on to? Right? Of course, from the biblical perspective, God has elevated the man is the head. Not so that he can dominate, but to give leadership to this institution. And I think people must become very objective. Why are we in it? Right? Right from the word go. Why are we getting into this relationship? And I think one book I found very useful, and that what one can apply, is Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And effectiveness is being able to get results in what I'm doing and to continue enjoying the same result. That I might enjoy my marriage today and I'll be able to continue enjoying the marriage. That means I'm investing in it, right? So unless people really redefine, and it talks about first being proactive, what values will guide us in our marriage? What values do we bring? Because without values, where are we going? What will guide us? if we could embrace that and right from the word go, and we have tried to do that, of course. Every anniversary, whenever we can, we have tried to step out. And we have a book where we look back. How has the year gone? How did we fare in our lives, in our relationships? What did we want to do as a family? Yeah? Have we achieved it? If not, what happened? And because it comes in February, our anniversary, and we have been sometimes to Mombasa, and we see most companies holding their planning meetings there. Yeah? Because every institution has to plan. How did we fare on last year? Where did we fail? How do we make it better? And we've adopted that kind of approach of reviewing and even capturing it in a minute. And unless now we see marriage as an institution, because we work hard on everything else. We go for retreats on everything else. But the marriage institution, we leave it just there floating. Those earlier years we would have differences and would cause you throw your hands, and sometimes me as the man then either I would drop it or go ahead and do what I think is. But you have managed to synergize now. Why do you think this way? What do you see? Then I bring in my point and we see, we combine what do we see? What is best for the family? But love is both a doing word, but it's also an emotional word. Love, of course, results in doing. God loved us, He gave. Jesus loved us, He gave Himself. And we're told love does not keep an account of wrongs. Love does, love doesn't. And we must also understand that we are different. The problem is, when I expect her to see things like me, she can't. She's different. Yeah? But if I can let her speak out her mind, then I bring in my input, and then we're able to discuss and deliberate, and we can chart the way forward.
Our children came almost very closely, except the third and the fourth, where we had a gap of 3 years. But it's like they all came very, very closely and very quickly. And somehow that time, I'm not sure whether we really had many challenges. I saw like we parented them moving, despite of now what was happening, either because of your social life, you want to be with your friends. But with the 5 children coming close together, I'm not sure whether we had much to say it has separated us or it has separated my attention towards him. I don't know.
They all came within those 10 years. In fact, the first 8 years, we were full house. Yeah? When we were still struggling with our own understanding issues.
I think that time he was able to, those moments.
Just to be with her.
Yeah, he tried.
When she was pregnant, I really took care of her. Until, of course, much later, and the children are big. And we started having challenges here and there. One of the things is that we are blessed with artists. All our children are artists, and raising artist children is never very easy. We did not know. One of
them, I imagine.
Yeah, we did not know. Why? Because they don't follow the conventional route, you know. They see things differently. You want someone to go to college and finish college, someone is having different ideas. And that time, of course, we started having challenges. Of course, you know the story of our firstborn, Carol. You've covered her. Yeah, and she has shared her story. And it was the issue of alcoholism. That has been a big issue because we had not seen it. And as much as we were drinking, it was social drinking. But about addictions, we never saw it. It was not much during our days. I think where I worked, I only knew 1 or 2 people. So it was something that really we struggled to understand what is going on. Yeah? And it has been a difficult issue to handle. And then, of course, our daughter would say she came with the term about rejection. Yeah? I did not feel loved, I felt rejected. She was our firstborn. She got her at 23 or 24.
Who?
Carol.
Got what?
You give birth to her when you are
24.
24.
24.
We're still young and we are struggling with our own lives. The root of rejection, when people talk about rejection, is because we human beings, every child is born with expectancies, inborn cravings, yeah? Inborn impulses. You want to feel loved, you want to feel hugged, you want to feel affirmed, you want to feel... all those things come in. Of course, like you said, our children came quite close, about 2 years. And it's like that now I was given birth to, that I do not feel that innate, it is innate expectation, innate expectancy, where you want to feel affirmed, loved, emotionally, yeah? But you're also, again, very different. Like I said, my wife is, I'm more of a phlegmatic, steady person. Phlegmatics are born diplomats, yeah? But for her now, as a melancholy, as a perfectionist, things, yeah, you heard me say getting approved was a challenge. You think you've done your best. Oh, what about this? And it's not by choice. It's because the ways a perfectionist is wired, they see the best, the ideal. Yeah, they have no room for failure. They have no room for that. Said my father was a perfectionist and a disciplinarian, and we all kept away because getting a tick was very difficult. You are coming position 2, you come number 3, that's a big deal. No room, yeah, and therefore I know, of course, many people grew feeling very distant. So generally, melancholies, and there's a temperament, is that they're perfectionists. Things must go like this. Everything must go like this, yeah? And that's why they suffer depression, because you're wired as a perfectionist in a world that is not perfect. Yes, certainly you expect a lot of trouble, ulcers, what have you, because things are not falling into place the way you want them to fall into place. And therefore we have our firstborn, of course, we're young, struggling, we have with our own struggles, yeah? And growing up, I think she did not feel that emotional attachment, yeah? And some people do not have it. They love you, they will do everything, but emotionally you find they are not very, yeah, attuned emotionally. And they're good people, but that is who they are, yeah? They expect A, B, C, D, things to go like this, yeah? And unless they know, so that they start working against that, in the natural, yeah, in the natural, perfectionists are wired that way, yeah. In the wiring, things must go like this, and you have to learn that it doesn't work. You have to learn and then embrace the Spirit of God, so that they can be perfectionists towards things, but not towards people. Yeah? But not towards people. But generally they are good people, very disciplined, very loyal. Yeah? It's only that they expect for everything to fall into place. Because she also wanted me to be perfect. Yeah, making things perfect. Things can be perfect, but people cannot be perfect. Sindio? And like I said, she is
something that I did.
Like I said, she is my dresser because I can never really buy the right thing. Yeah? So, but whatever she buys for me, good. Yeah? That I surrendered. That's when ninunulie vitu. So, these are perfectionists. So people may feel like they are distant, they are not emotionally connected. Yeah? And of course, when that doesn't work, a child will feel that term came rejection. But the parent gets shocked. Me rejecting my child? I've loved my child. I've given my best. It's a frustrating moment. I've done the best for my child. So what is this you're talking about? So you have two people coming from two different. This one believes they have given the best. The other one feels emotionally, I did not feel emotional attachment. Yeah? And therefore, the term now, that term, feeling rejected, comes in. Yeah, but that is the genesis and the birth of that. And I've met people, even old people. One person I met was close to 60. And he told me his father had died, and it was unfortunate the father died before telling him why he did not love him. And I dug in, what happened? Because when we were young, it was a polygamous situation. My stepbrother, ABC, this is how he treated my stepbrother, ABCD. There was no money, and this one either went to school before me. And counts many few things. And that to him, yeah, meant the father did not love him like he loved the other person. And you grew up to that age of around 60. And he was sad. He always expected the father to tell him why he did not love him like he loved.
But for sure the father loved him.
And the father loved him.
And he could have been shocked actually
to hear that.
To hear that he didn't love his son.
Because maybe in making that decision, who should go first, maybe the father considered many things. This one can easily catch up, even if they're left behind because they have no money. So he must have considered many things. But to the child, I was not loved like that person. And he was feeling rejected. He grew up with a spirit of rejection. But that is generally the genesis. The child has innate expectancies to be loved, to be affirmed, to be emotionally connected, hugged, and all those. And sometimes the parent, like now my father loved us very much, but I'm the person who really drew very close to him in the late ages, and I grew close to his heart to understand what was going on. Yeah, and therefore they don't mean bad. It's only that the wiring is that mediocrity, no room. Everything must be there. So emotionally, they can be seen like they're very mean. Yeah, they have no emotions to give, but they have they love and they love. And therefore, that was one of our challenges, just to encounter the first case of alcoholism. It was a difficult one. We thought we have done our best. Yeah. And our children were really admired. But at that point in time, then things started changing. So you know the story of our daughter. She's shared it. We have talked over it, about it many times. And I think she has come to understand the background. Yeah? She may not have felt loved, emotionally, that emotional connection in the early years.
And that could have now brought a conflict now, even between ourselves, between him and I. Because as he says that I am a perfectionist, I didn't know he's the one who came with that terminology of perfectionism. I just learned on the way. And I know many times I could blame him. I could tell him, if you are strict, these children could not have behaved that way. But I do thank God because, as he said, I think we said from the beginning, many marriages are also breaking because of now, blame games. Yeah. If you did this, it could have been this way. If you didn't do this, it could have gone that way. I know I did blame him, and I was saying, okay, at times I thought I sensed quite early, even when Jerry drank, and I could tell him, I think this girl has taken something. And what do you call your temperament? Or do you
phlegmatics.
Yeah, no.
Procrastinators, very good procrastinators. That's
yes.
One of the weaknesses.
Yeah.
Very steady, but he can procrastinate.
Yeah, when I tell him, I think there's something here. Please, can you ask right now? He tells me, okay, I'm tired. I'll ask her tomorrow. So tomorrow comes, he doesn't ask. Then I tell him, you know what? If you asked this thing yesterday when she came, she couldn't have manufactured lies. But now you have kept it for a week. And that's how now things went, getting worse and worse, according to me. But I do thank God, even with that temperament of his, I think it's also good because we are able to, to balance each other. Because if it went the way I wanted, I think perhaps it could have been not so good. And also for him now, that way maybe God has helped us. Otherwise, I know at times I could feel, maybe this is not what I really wanted. But of course, I know even tomorrow I would still marry him, even with the same circumstances. And so that one also, perhaps for many families, if one person is not quite well level-headed, even at our age, people can still break. Marriages can break. Because you blame, like me, I did blame him many times, but at times, as he says, when we go out and we talk over it, outside home, not here, I could see, okay, yeah, as much as you didn't hit the iron when it was hot, perhaps it was appropriate, it was okay. So even now, when these children are growing, such moments also can cause a rift, even at our age. We have seen many people actually leave families and go to America and leave children because of the blame game. Yeah, one person, the mother leaves and she goes and she leaves, or the father goes. We have those testimonies. I know initially I used to hear people say, "Why, you are a strong woman?" And I wondered, what are they talking about? I think it has strengthened me and also my faith. Although at times, of course, I'm only human. At times I feel like, okay, my faith goes down a bit. But I think it has strengthened me, and I'm able even to empathize with others. I do say, if really these children of ours, especially the first three, I'm sorry, I'm not profiling, if it went just the way it was from the beginning, perhaps I could be the most proud woman, saying how I have done it myself, pointing fingers at others, saying, wow, they didn't know how to do it. Because really for us, even the teenage, when they were teenagers, as people talk about teenage, I didn't see like we had much crisis for them when they were teenagers, until now, maybe from like 19 years or so, as now they went to, what do you call it?
Colleges and what?
Yeah, colleges. So I think it has strengthened me. I'm able even to empathize with others and to understand others now. I'm not judging as much. But the strength itself, I think God has strengthened me so much that I can be able even to talk to others. I know I have talked to quite a number of women whose daughters have gotten children early in school, and I see them coming back to me telling me, wow, kumbe, you knew. It's not that I knew, but it's because I have seen it. Because there are some things like such crisis when now children come even before you expect. According to you, you have done all what you knew how to do, and even like this man holding his daughters, walking them as he used to say. And when we saw it, it didn't happen. Of course, we were crushed. And but as time goes, even these children who came before we thought they would come, to us they are joy now. We are saying there's nothing that comes permanently. There's nothing permanent. Whatever crisis is there, it comes and goes because God knows really why it came.
But I still thank God that we went through that, because it has taught us a lot of things. For me, it made me a student of life, really wanting to understand who we are as human beings and why we have so many struggles in our relationships. And that has also helped me to interact with many people who have gone through pain. Yeah? If I had not gone through that, like she said, we would have thought we were perfect. Because like we thought when we were parenting, we were perfect. We were doing very well. Yeah? Until things happened, and we started hearing people, of course, say different things. No, these people are so strict. So when the children now got freedom, things changed. Yeah? Others would say, you are too liberal. You did not discipline your children. I mean, so all those comments, you hear them. But of course, like she said, it has made us stronger. And we know, because nothing is permanent. Yeah? Seeing even the journey Carol has walked, and God has sustained her. Right? And she is now the one who is supporting others and helping others and telling others it can be done. Yeah? You see, unless you go through something you cannot know, you tell yourself you're okay. But having gone through it, we are in a position where you can encourage others and support others as they walk through the journey, because you've seen the worst and you've seen God still moving in that situation. So there's nothing else I would want to change. I can't change her. She still remains my friend and my sweetheart. We enjoy our time together, and we have had our best moment. I mean, we still have better times ahead, but we cannot regret. Yeah? So I for sure cannot change. I cannot change our children. We love them very much. We have adorable children. We have adorable grandchildren. This is the journey of life, and it's a school where you do not graduate. You are learning all the time. You're learning all the time. So I've been a student. I've also taught her a lot of things that I've learned along the way. But human beings, we are interesting creatures. And without God, things are difficult. Things are tough. Without God as our focus, as our central pillar, marriages will continue getting tougher and tougher.
I have never had a moment of even hating him, even a single day, even when I felt so disappointed. Yeah, there were those moments when I felt disappointed, but I never felt like I ever hated him. Because even when we disagreed and maybe he went, as he's saying, he went out, I still felt missing him. Even after disagreeing, I still felt missing him. So I'm not sure whether I would want to change anything. Because even if he changed his temperament, I'm not sure whether things could change. Because when God plans, he has planned. So I think we'll just stay the way we are.
So temperament-wise, we are different, like I said. And generally, that's how couples are different. You don't find people who are the same.
It's actually a crisis. If people have the same temperament, let me not mention the person. I know we have seen an elderly couple, and they were almost the same. It doesn't work because there's nobody to pull the other up or down, so they are just there.
So as a diplomat, as a phlegmatic, I choose to handle things diplomatically.
And me?
We sit. Eh?
And me?
Here and now.
When I look at life myself, now that Christ came into our hearts, and God has been so gracious to us, not that we have it all, even financially, that we have it so much, but we haven't lacked. God has helped us, God has enabled us even to push even our children where they need a push, the ones who need a push. But I still find like having all these things, if I speak like Solomon, it's vanity of vanity. We just can't keep, running after things. For me, I feel at this time, serving God is quite good and very important for me. I usually get my good moments, like when I call him, when I feel I'm low and I tell him, let's pray. I see us running to pray. And it's so good to me. It's so good to me. Actually, I personally wonder, when you don't know God at this age, now our age, what else are you waiting for? What else are you waiting for? Because without God, I'm not sure we could have made it even like the crisis that we have gone through with these first three people. Without God, I'm sure, for sure it couldn't have worked. So for me, I think it's God now. God and God and God. Even when I have moments of my faith going down, still at the end of the day, I know it is God. So for me, I just want God and God and God. And I'm so grateful that he has put it in us, even when I feel low. This is a man of God. I call him a man of God because I can testify for him. I know he's born again. I know not so many wives can talk about their husband's salvation, but I can talk. So for me, where we are now, I think it's God and God and God and God and God, and let him be. Things are good. Even now I want things because I want to travel next summer. But at our age, for me, it is God.
Yeah, I think so. The most important thing is to finish strong and to see our children and our grandchildren also grow and also be strong in the Lord, to carry on faith, and to take care of their own. Because for sure I can say we have done all we knew how to do. For our children, we have done everything we know how to do within human limits. And we have prayed for them. We have introduced them to the Lord. My prayer is that we finish strong in faith God shows us where we need to serve at this age. Yeah, in our last, say, quarter.
Is it a quarter only?
Oh, no. Yes, it's a quarter.
It's so short. What are you talking about? Wow.
In our last quarter. Is at least just to, render whatever service, be of use to wherever the Lord leads us. Yeah? And for our children to carry on with the faith.
Amen.
Yeah? And also to be able to take care of their own. Yeah? So that they will bury us at a ripe old age. And they will be buried by their children at also a ripe old age, when they have served their purpose in their generation. Yeah? So that's our prayer. And that whatever the Lord has taught us, allowed us to learn, will be useful to other people. Because we have been in a school of life. The one thing about ourselves is that very, very early, because of various times you have stepped out just talk about ourselves, we quite early, not early after the 10 years, thereabout, learnt about each other. And I can tell you about her life, her family, almost more than she can. Maybe she has forgotten something. She knows everything about me. Cindy, our lives are open. But of course, as we grow older, encounter different situations. And you have to learn to handle them. Because the way you related the other day, at a different age, now even as you age, there are the different situations that come. And you have to learn to handle them. And this one reacts like this or responds like this, and you react like this. Our bodies are changing. Everything is changing. Everything changes. Life is not static. So we go learning, but we are ready to learn. Yeah? We are ready to learn from each other as we go along life. But learning never stops. But I don't think there's anything new other than what now emerges as we grow older. Things that we don't know experientially until you go through that stage. But we believe the love we have for one another will carry us through every moment. And we have learned to pray together. We pray for our children every day, for our grandchildren. And we know God is at work. And we thank Him for what He's doing in Carol's life. Using her as an instrument now to minister to others. Because no experience is wasted in God's eyesight. Every experience surrendered to God, He will use it.
But learning, I think we'll continue learning until forever.
Until you
go. Yeah, because if there are incidences or something happens, at times I may not know how He's going to react over it. And perhaps I never knew that one, how His reaction will be. So when He reacts the way He reacts, maybe, I'll be surprised because I didn't know that's how He reacts on that particular incident or I don't know how to put it. Yeah, because at times, okay, His nature, His temperament is different, mine is different. I may come with an expectancy or expecting when I break this news to Him, maybe He will behave this way, but He behaves differently from what I thought. So that's a new learning. I've learned something new. I know in your generation, we are also changing that. Nobody wants to hear for better, for worse. I know nobody wants to hear that. Many are changing. I don't know they are saying for better and for what. I don't know what they are saying. Yeah, I know us we said for better and for worse. For better, for worse. Love, my God, the definition of love. Loving each other. If God has put that love, of appreciating the other person, accepting the other person as the person you want to live the rest of your life with, I think the obligation is to love them just as they are. Not because you love them because they had a big car or because they had a big name. If your heart was drawn to the other person, let it be that way, not the material things, not these other things. Because these other things, they can come and go. Even the okay, of course we attracted, like me, I was attracted to him because he was good looking. He's still good looking at 70. And when we mean business, now I have accepted this is my husband. Whatever happens, there are many things that may happen that may not even be described, that even the doctors may not know as time goes, as people grow older. I mean, those things should not make my love go down for that person. So I think if you have chosen to love, please just love that person as they are. Not because of circumstances, no conditions. If you have loved somebody, love them. Let it not be a 1 month love, 2 months, and because this has happened, you stop loving them.
Yeah, just to add on to that, of course the Bible says God is love. So human beings are created to thrive in an environment of love, right? So of course from the two who come together, parents, children's love, but we are created and we perform best in an environment of love. But love just doesn't come. Yeah. Of course, when we come to Christ, the Bible says God pours love, His love into our hearts. The fruit of the Spirit is love. Yeah. Unconditional love, because God loves us unconditionally. So when I choose to love her, she is. And we agree, we walk together. But love takes hard work. Yeah? Because you have to see, I love this person. Why? Because I love them. Irrespective of or in spite of or despite ABCD. And I have to cultivate that. And the moment I decide, love is also a decision. The moment I decide to love the person, I'll start feeling love towards them. Yeah? The moment I decide to overlook a lot of those other things and love the person because I love them, I choose to love them, the feelings follow. You remember you talked about arranged marriages. People who did not even know each other, but once you're brought together and you decide to live together and to walk together, love, feelings would follow. Yeah? So there is the decision part of it, and then the emotions flow out of that. But it takes hard work to choose to love and to remain in love despite the weaknesses. One thing is a fact. Every person is dominated. We are all dominated by weaknesses. So if we look for weaknesses, we'll find them. She has many, I have many. She has said. So we have many. So we have to go beyond those. Yeah? And it's no wonder the Bible says love does not keep an account of wrongs. Love does not. Love is patient. Love is kind. So when we see people from that perspective, and I choose to love them, I choose to love someone because I choose to love them, just like God chooses to love us. And then those emotions of love will come. But when we start at the emotional level and expect to remain there, soon, and that's what happens after honeymoon, soon the feelings start going down. Yeah? The hormones start coming down. Why? Because you have real issues to address. And those issues bring tension. And those tensions sometimes mean you cannot agree. And then you start drawing apart. Yeah? And at that point, it has to be a decision. I love you because I love you. We will work around things, but that will not affect our love. So first, love is a decision before it is an emotion. Because when it's basically an emotion, emotions die. But when it's a decision, you always remain in love because you've chosen to. So it should not be based on any materialism. You know, it's, I love you because you have. What about if those things go? If she loved me just because I'm handsome, if that handsomeness goes, what happened? Yeah? So first and foremost, it's a decision. And with that, then other things come.
Maybe I have said many times he was good looking. And he still is. It's not only that. I remember, because you have given us that opportunity. He has a very quiet spirit, a very calm spirit that I admired very early. And I told him twice or thrice. He used to come to visit me now in college. We used to have the Kenya bus. I'm not sure whether you have found them. The real ones. With
the front and the rear exit.
Yes. Yeah. So people used to enter
from the rear.
From the
rear.
Then you come out from the front. So we waited for the bus. That time you are in Satellite or you are in Lavington. So, and you know those buses people they were full, people used to go standing and holding. And he was a young man and he chose to enter from the front. And the driver told him, toka, kijana kwa nini umeingia? Toka. Do you know he came out slowly without even, you know, and I know some of people of, you know, his class, he couldn't have come out. I really admired that. I felt, wow. He came out. He was so humble. And that one, I felt, this is the person. He has entered and ameambiwa atoke na akatoka. Wengi hawangetoka. You didn't find those ones. So that one actually made me put such a big plus.
Na nikawekwa tick.
Kabisa. Because he just walked out. Imagine, he didn't even argue with the driver. Hakukata, and you know they couldn't have brought him down. Yeah, he just walked out and he came, and of course I was happy. We stayed again and we talked and I think even his brother Pas, who had a car, they used to live together, and that time we hid. We don't want the brother to see us. We are talking. So anyway, that one has really also helped me a lot, even when at times I felt like, you know, I'm really worked out because of disappointments of life, and because of that temperament that God gave him, that, you know, that very quiet spirit, a humble man. It made me really love him. Besides now this thing he's talking about, the good looking, yeah, this one can go, but you know, with that one, that temperament, that quiet spirit, that one remains, so long as siya kujiwekelea, you know. So yeah, I think if I left that one, thank you very much.